Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Thriving Adoptees podcast. And today you've just got me, no guest today. Today I'm going to be talking about separating ourselves from our trauma. And the reason that I think that that's so significant is really my own personal experience. The more distance I've been able to put between who I really am and the trauma that I feel, the easier that life has appeared to me, the less painful it appears to me. That's not to say that I don't have my moments. So I've been putting some stuff out on Facebook recently, asking genuine questions about why people post about trauma rather than healing, essentially. And I have to say that the backlash to that got me. I was wrong, right? I was making those people wrong, and I was wrong to post what I did. And you'd have thought by now I would have learned my lesson on this. So I had 2 or 3 instances of this over the last couple of years. And I think maybe this time I've learned. I believe in understanding our trauma, being trauma informed, being trauma aware. But I believe also in being healing obsessed. So I think what we focus on gets bigger. There's so many of us still very hurt, and hurt people. So, and how many times have I said that to myself and yet taken comments personally? Guess the light at the end of the tunnel, maybe the silver lining to this, perhaps, is that I've got another opportunity to heal, to take things less personally, to be less triggered. That's the silver lining of this cloud. So separating who we are from the trauma that we've been through, and the trauma that lives now in those feelings that are sometimes triggered. So I mentioned the word cloud. Now, you may have heard me talking about this on other podcasts in terms of the coming out of the fog. So a lot of people talk about coming out of the fog, but they don't see that they don't go any further than saying, realizing the trauma. Right. So we've been cosseted in this fog. We haven't felt our trauma, or if we felt it, we haven't understood it. We haven't understood the cause of it. We've been oblivious, naive, and I put myself in that space. I had probably 40 years in the fog. Some people don't have. Some people would see that fog as a luxury, right? Because that 40 years of maybe being in the fog was as a luxury, because they haven't had that period of luxury. I think every one of us spends different amount of time in the fog. But what is it? What comes after the fog, other than seeing our trauma? That's a question that's been fascinating me for the last 2.5 years. how we can, through metaphor, through extending the metaphor, how we can see, how we can continue our healing journey after we've come out of the fog. So in a very literal sense, coming out of the fog means that we can see these dark clouds of trauma, these storm clouds. The storm clouds of trauma, they are jam-packed with anger. So I talk a lot about my own story about anger being the first feeling that came to me coming out of the fog. So it's black, it's dark, it's scary. So it's anger, insecurity, fear, shame, all these toxic emotions, toxic emotions. One of the things that I've been accused of a couple of times is toxic positivity, and I think that's purely down to me misreading where some people are at, right? So I'm talking about trauma now. I'm looking to understand trauma. I've been looking to understand trauma and who I am for about 16 years now. So put it very bluntly, from my own experience, I'd rather be, if I am toxically positive, and I don't think I am, but if I am, let's just assume that I am, assume that I'm wrong, right? Assume that I'm wrong, right? Assume that I'm wrong. I think I'd rather be toxically positive rather than toxically negative. So you see how the kind of my pride is at stake here when I'm on the defensive. And this is clearly an area that I need to do more work on, because I'm still triggered, right? And I probably always will be. And hopefully it'll just be less and less, and the explosion, when we talk about being triggered. Well, there's that ludicrous game played in the Deer Hunter, which is a Russian roulette. So they're the American stars. Can't remember who they are. I think, yeah, it's gone. There's a chamber, there's a circular cylinder of the gun. It's got 8 spaces for 8 bullets, and they just put 1 bullet in. Well, I think I'm coming to a space where I used to go through life with maybe 8 of the cylinders full. So every time I was triggered, there was a loud bang and there was an explosion. I think now I'm probably not down to Russian roulette, which is 1 out of the 8 chambers empty, but maybe more like 4 or 5, and it differs on a different day. If I'm tired, I'm triggered more easily. So back to the metaphor, coming out of the clouds, out of the fog, and we're seeing dark storm clouds of trauma. And if we keep looking there, see a tiny little gap. Well, we see what looks like a piece of blue superimposed on this black cloud. And this analogy I'm copying and adapting from a guy called Rupert Spira. Genius guy. we think that the dark cloud has got a little bit of a blue sticker on it, and we're drawn. Our focus is drawn to that blue, to that blue sticker, and we are sucked up towards it. And when we get close, we realize it's a chimney. It's a path through the dark clouds. It's not a sticker on the trauma cloud. It's a path through the trauma cloud. And we shoot up that tunnel, shoot up that chimney, and we look down on our trauma, and we merge with the blue sky that was always there, the truth of who we are. We merge with that sky, and we realize that we are not the dark clouds of our trauma. So what's the nature of the sky? The nature of the sky is it accepts everything. It accepts, if I remember rightly, from my geography from when I was at school, there's all sorts of different clouds, right? So I can't remember what the storm clouds are, but there's these cumulus clouds, which are quite common here in the UK. They're the sort of big, long clouds. Then there's the nimbus clouds we see more in the tropics, which is stacks of clouds. There's the stratus clouds, which are like the name suggests, they are strata, right? So they're long and thin. So we can start to explore that different feelings are signified by different clouds. But here's the thing. The sky is not bothered, is not upset by a cloud of upset. The sky isn't traumatized by the dark trauma cloud. The sky is not bothered. Sky is not bothered. The sky is open to everything. So here we are. I can be open to the explosions of anger when I'm triggered, or the explosions of upset when I'm triggered, when I'm feeling insecure, when I'm feeling afraid, where I'm feeling misunderstood, where I'm feeling regret for the upset that I've caused. I can, as the sky, I can welcome all those emotions in, rather than trying to push them away. The sky doesn't try and push away different sorts of clouds. And these clouds, insecurity, fear, anger, shame, they all roll in from time to time. The trauma cloud is made up of all those different sorts of mini clouds, really. But the fundamental thing here is the clouds aren't the sky. Our feelings aren't who we are. So what? Well, this separation from the trauma we've been through, trauma we feel and who we are, that as that separation gap opens, as we enlarge the separations, as we increase the separations between the felt understanding, the felt experience, are separations of who we are from how we feel. We're more at peace with the world. We're more open. We're less triggered. And when we say we, I'm talking about me here, right? This is my experience. And who we are isn't what we feel. How we feel isn't who we are. A couple of other little metaphors that I use here that perhaps briefer, more to the point, and will land for you. Maybe you'll remember these. This is for me, this is the start of the healing process, separating who we are from the trauma we feel. I talk about what is trauma. Well, trauma is a toxic cocktail: fear, insecurity, anger, and shame. It's a cocktail, right? It's a mixture of all those things, and it's got other things in it, different. So mine had mainly anger in it. So different. The cocktails are made of a cocktail in a bar is made of different amounts of different drinks. So my cocktail was probably 5/8 anger, 2/8, so a quarter insecurity, and 1/8, 1 part shame. Here's the thing: we are the glass, the cocktail glass. We are not its contents. Looking at that word again, contents and the glass. So we are not the contents of our mind and our body, because our feelings are the content. We are the context. That's the sky, right? That's the space, the wide open space in which all these feelings arise and go. They come and go. When I wake up in the morning, most mornings I'm not feeling insecure. I'm not. My mind is a blank. My heart is a blank. The clouds of my feelings are yet to roll in. So I hope that helps you. And I'll speak to you again very soon. Take care. Bye-bye.